Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Ask a Leader track, specifically focused on the future of BECU, and we've entitled this Purpose-Driven Innovation. Real quick, if you're looking for a different session or if this isn't the one you're trying to get to, you can go to the track button below and navigate to the appropriate session. But we sure do hope you'll stay with this one because we think we're going to bring some very good and interesting content to you all this evening. I'm John Clymer, the Vice President of Strategic Support here at BECU, and I am so happy to be your session moderator this evening with this panel of great leaders. In this session, we'll hear from three of our great executive leaders here who are really focused on building, improving, and expanding the services that we provide to you, our members. It's really what it's all about. And so I think these three are so excited to be able to talk to you about this, because it's really what gets them to work every single day. So before we hear from some of the stuff about their jobs, we will start with just some basic introductions, and we'll ask each of our hosts to share a little bit about themselves. As you hear from them, if you look to the right on your screen, there is a chat function where you can ask questions as they occur to you throughout the presentations. And after we hear a little bit of intro information from our leaders, we'll move to a Q&A where we'll have some active dialogue. And I will just say, this session's all about dialogue. We're looking forward to interacting, so looking forward to your questions. So without further ado, Fumbi, I'll turn it over to you for your introduction.
John, thank you very much. And it is a pleasure and an honor to be joining on my first member summit. Fumbi Chima, Executive Vice President and Chief Information Officer. I have just recently joined the company, going on about 7 months, so just under a year. My responsibility includes leading the organization's technology strategy, the information security, the IT operations. It also obviously includes an important part, which is ensuring that our members have secure and seamless access to their accounts. And on a separate note, I'm partnering with my colleague, which we'll be introducing shortly, around what we call digital transformation, which is how we evolve BECU to be more digitally enabled in the near term. So over to you, Doug.
Great, thanks, Fumbi. Great to be with you all tonight. Again, I'm Doug Marshall. I've been with BECU now. I'm in my 9th year with BECU and couldn't be more proud of that. Our team, as Fumbi alluded to, is deep in the midst of working on the digital transformation with her team. In addition, we have 4 things we're responsible for. The first is to deliver what we would call modern digital experiences. The second is we want to ensure that our products and services continue to stay relevant and evolve as our members' needs, as your needs evolve and change, and they do. The third thing is we want to build and deploy products and services that enable all of our members to further improve their financial well-being. You heard a lot about that from Tom if you joined the previous session. And then finally, we want to make sure that we're constantly improving the member, but also the employee experience, really with a reliance on data, a thoughtful, wise, judicious use of data to make those experiences better. So with that, Scott, how about you?
Doug, thank you, and I'm excited to be here with you and Fumbi and John tonight. I enjoy these sessions, and in fact, I've been with BECU for almost 13 years now, and I'm also very proud of that. And I have the honor of leading our lending businesses, our consumer, mortgage, and commercial lending businesses, our wealth management area, as well as our retail branches and our contact centers. And we focus indeed on kind of executing on service delivery for our members and around helping enable through our programs the financial health and well-being, which is a core part of our purpose and what I think people have already probably heard a lot about so far today. Back to you, John.
All right, thank you for the good intros. Really appreciate that. Well, I think what we want to do is spend some time looking back to 2020. What an amazing and interesting year that was. I think we've used the term unprecedented quite a bit, to say the least. And Fumbi, this was your first year, 2020, joining BECU. While we don't have time to cover all of the highlights, around the year 2020, we'd love it if the three of you could maybe share 1 to 2 highlights or things that you're most proud of that really stand out from that year that was 2020. Why don't we start with you, Fumbi?
Okay, so 2020 was clearly as you said, unprecedented year, and I was lucky enough to join towards the tail end of it. But as you would imagine, for most of the technologists, it was an exciting year for many of us, and as was the case for BECU. Nearly overnight, we had to transition 70% of our employees to a remote working environment. Whether we weathered the on-site, whether they were on-site or whether they were remote, we learned, my employees learned to work in virtual teams, coming together to deliver for our members and our communities and each other. Even when we couldn't be in the same place, we still stayed connected as a team. While forced to be apart wasn't easy, but yeah, we found a way. So if that wasn't a significant highlight, I'm not quite sure what else it was. But over to you, Doug. What was your highlight?
Thanks, Fumbi. Yeah, it's, as you said, John, it's hard to pick just one, so I'll pick 3, but be quick. One, you've heard a lot already tonight about the personal loan product that was developed to help our members bridge their cash flow gaps. And that was remarkable. The team did such a good job on that in such a short amount of time. And the reason that matters is we were able to get it in our members' hands right when they needed it. And that was important. You've also heard a lot about our Save Up and Quick Save products that were launched. And again, what I love about that is while we were focused very much on the challenges of last year, the team and the organization was looking ahead to what members' needs might be in the future. So that was nice. And then finally, but very quickly, we also want to know that it's really important for our members to be able to do things in an easy way with BECU. And given how many more members are using the app, we had a significant increase in that, our mobile app. We spent a lot of time last year, and the team did some remarkable work in conjunction with Fumbi's team to make our mobile app much, much better. So all good stuff from a very, very long list. Scott, I know your list is long as well, but how about you for last year?
Yeah, thanks, Doug. There's a lot of stuff I'm excited about and proud of for 2020, and but just kind of pick a few here. And indeed, probably heard about this, but today already. But our member assistance and member relief programs were something of a highlight for us. Certainly, in terms of the help we were able to offer our members. We had loan mod and payment relief options across all of our loan products. Ultimately, about 26,000 members took advantage of those programs, and that totaled over $500 million in loan balances. And so that was a pretty significant relief effort for our members. And what's remarkable about that to me, in addition to our members taking advantage of that, is just the teamwork, that we were able to have within the organization to make that happen. One little example is we were going to open a brand new branch up in Thrasher's Corner, and of course, right in the middle of the pandemic, it was shut down. And so that whole team was trained and already hired, ready to open. And instead, they went and worked in our member assistance area, helping our members with loan mods. And so that was one great example of the kind of teamwork that we saw. We also last year helped over 2,300 members with a dream of purchasing a new home. And that's kind of aided by a product set with low rates and no origination fees. But we also expanded our first-time homebuyer grant program, which to date has given out over $5 million in grant dollars to 850 members. We also have a home rewards program, which rebated real estate commissions and had other savings for our members who finance their home purchase. And so helping our members achieve their dream was something that was even though a challenging year, something that we're pretty proud of. And then finally, on the service front, we did modify our branch operations and establish social distancing protocols implemented and provided a lot of PPP. And we expanded our appointment capability. And the pandemic impacted our operations, but we had minimal branch closures last year. We tripled our appointment capability and capacity, and we served over 1.7 million members who we welcome and served into one of our locations last year. And then also, and Fumbi mentioned this, but in a number of days, we stood up 200 or 300 contact center staff to work fully remote and maintain the same operating hours throughout. and handled over 3.5 million member interactions through chat and message and by phone. So I'm really proud of our entire BECU team, but certainly would add a special thanks to our frontline employees who served our members every day. And also would finish for now by thanking our members for their patience and flexibility as we navigated through those pandemic-related challenges. John, back to you.
Thanks, Scott, Fumbi, and Doug. I agree. Those are things we can all be very proud of. And most of all, it's all about serving our members. And I think we did a lot of good things that you guys talked about last year. But there's no time like the present. So how about we jump over to 2021 and talk about some of the things that we're focused on this year, again, in service of our members. Let's mix it up this time. And I'm going to go right back to you, Scott, and have you kick us off.
All right, thanks, John. There's, again, so many things I'm excited about for 2021. We have a lot of things planned, but just a few to highlight. One in particular, it's a really big focus for us, is supporting our small business members. We added about 10,000 new business members last year, and we now have around 65,000 small business members, most of them with 10 employees or less. And, small businesses are so vital to our community by driving growth, providing jobs, and increasing diversity. So we're really focused on expanding our products and services to better support them this year. And a couple of highlights of that is we're introducing a new business online banking platform, which is going to provide a lot more capability and a consistent digital experience across all devices like laptops and mobile phones and tablets. It's also going to help enable us to offer some core cash management products like ACH payments, wires, and Positive Pay, which is a fraud protection tool. And then last year, another thing actually we were pretty proud of is the SBA PPP program, which we did about 2,500 loans and helped retain about 11,000 jobs last year in that program. This year, we've been just as focused on it. We've been continued that program and our participation in it, and to date have made almost 5,000 loans to our business members. And so this year, in addition to focusing on supporting those members through the loan forgiveness process, we're going to expand our traditional SBA product offering so we can even serve even broader borrowing needs from all of our growing small business member base. And so we're excited about that. Another area real quick for focus is just to continue to improve our member experience. And we have a lot of initiatives stacked against that. One I would highlight is within our contact center. And I mentioned the big call volumes last year and just kind of getting that operation stood up remotely pretty quickly, but it did have impacts. Those high volumes led to extended call times and in turn longer wait times for our members. And we've taken several steps to address this, including a lot of new staffing over the last several months, and implementing Save My Place, which is a capability that allows a member to hold their place in line and receive a call back. And so with that, I would add, already we've seen a very positive impact from these actions. In particular, within the last month, we've seen our wait times and our hold times now drop to levels actually at or better than levels we saw pre-pandemic. And so we're really pleased to see that improvement in experience to our members. And again, I mentioned this, but also appreciate their patience as we've worked through those challenges. So those are just a few of the many things we're focused on in 21. And Fumbi, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Scott. 2021 is a very exciting year for me. And if you think about it, we're already, 4 months into it, which is amazing. But a couple of things I'm really excited about, and I think, it's most important for us to read, not only just from a capability, but also in the infrastructure. With the pandemic, as many of us have seen, there's been a heightened awareness around cybersecurity and the penetration in there. So our focus to continue to focus on cybersecurity so that we can continue to protect the members and obviously ultimately protect BECU is paramount to the success of what we do in 2021 and beyond. And then specifically around that, I think both Scott and Doug had talked about the great work of what we've done around continuing to enhance our member experience. I think I'm really looking forward to some of those capabilities and features that was going to be coming in 2021, and how we continue to make it easy for our members to do business with BECU. I think it's important around bringing in innovation, bringing in digitalization, like e-sign, so that we can start having electronic forms it built into our capabilities, I think that would be amazing. It would help ease some of those friction points. I think there's an enhancement around what we're doing. We just launched the business online banking, but we're going to add more features into that. I think that's more exciting. And then most importantly, I think there are other capabilities around how do we bring, I'm focused around automation and innovation, but really how do we adopt a risk-based automation decisioning tool that would enable to make the lives of our employees and members easier by minimizing a number of the manual efforts that we've been doing that is taken, I think as Scott had said, it's taken a lot of our time, and we continue to ask for their patience, but by bringing in innovation and technology advancement into it, it would help make the experiences a whole lot better. So those are just some of the things I'm looking forward to in 2021, just making BECU a better place. And over to you, Doug.
Great, thanks again, Fumbi. Yeah, before I talk about a couple of specific things, I realized as I thought about this today, I think one of the things I'm most excited about is the possibility, and I know it's only a possibility, of returning to our Tukwila offices and walking through that door every day or some days and actually seeing you, our members. So I'm hopeful that'll happen this year and looking forward to that. More specifically, and if you hear a theme tonight from the three of us, it's good. I'm thinking a lot about how do we make, again, interacting with us easier, and how do we continue to help provide tools that will enable our members, to further improve your financial well-being. On the digital front, as we're focused a lot actually on the credit card, as more and more of you are using that card more and more, as we sort of return to somewhat previous ways of doing business, that's becoming more important in your lives. And so we have a number of enhancements, particularly in the app and on the online banking platform, to make it easier for you to use the card and also to have the information you need. For example, something as basic and simple as when's my payment and how much is my payment, so you don't have to go dig deeply for that kind of information. So a number of enhancements there. And then related, we are also wanting to make it easier and easier, and almost, if not 2 clicks, maybe 3, to make a payment on a BECU loan or a credit card or a mortgage. And again, as your life, our members' lives are busier and busier, the last thing you want to do is make it hard to do some basic things. So we have a lot of work against that, and those are just 2 examples. And then, as you may have heard earlier, we are going to continue to offer products and services, new ones, to further improve, as you heard, financial well-being. One specific example that we actually just went live with, a sort of a beta last week, is what we're calling digital savings envelopes. And as you would expect from that name, some of you recall the days when you would have envelopes, paper envelopes, and you would put cash in each of those envelopes to save for specific purposes. This will be the digital equivalent of that. It will allow you to name those envelopes with a specific purpose, whether that's buy a boat, retire, take a vacation, whatever that purpose would be, and then build towards those goals. So we're looking forward to seeing that go live later this year as well. So lots more, but for now, John, what's next? We have more to talk about, I think, today.
Well, Doug, glad you asked. It's actually time for the interactive part of this presentation dialogue this afternoon. It's the Q&A time. So as I mentioned, everybody, at the start of this presentation and dialogue session, in the chat on the right of your screen, there's a box where you can type in any questions that you may have, or that any of these leaders have sparked in your mind, and we'd really be happy to talk with you about anything that's on your mind. At this point, we're going to bring in our colleague, Sean Floss, to join the conversation. He's going to help us to get some of these questions out here for these great leaders. And so welcome, Sean. Thank you for being here. And I think, if I remember right, we had some questions leading up to this segment tonight, maybe even from earlier in the sessions. And I was wondering, could we start with one of those while people are getting their questions ready?
Absolutely. Thanks, John. So that one of those that came earlier says, I saw in the presentation earlier that members needed help modifying their loans. How are members doing now? What's happening with BECU's loan portfolio?
Oh, that's a great question. Scott Strand, I think that one's right in your area of expertise. So can I turn that over to you?
Yeah, sure, John. A really good question. We've mentioned that, certainly, that we modified $500 million in loan balances last year. So how did that work out, and what's happening? And it's really, I'm pleased to be able to say that most of the loans that we modified last year are now, and have been for several months, returned to normal payment schedules, and members are doing fine making those payments. and so we're happy to see that for sure. A little more broadly, we are seeing our portfolio balances decline. Our members aren't borrowing as much, and they're paying down existing debt. This is helped by higher savings and lower spending and the stimulus money, as well. We also track and monitor the movement, the credit scores for our members and how they're moving, and we've seen improvement in overall in our members' credit scores as well. And in fact, very recently, our rate reprice program, where we automatically lower your rate if your FICO score improves, had 50,000 members qualify for that, which reflects positive movement in credit scores. And so we're seeing that. And so, with less debt and more savings, our broader membership is doing okay. Certainly always mindful of the fact that we do have members, with financial hardship still, and all of the member relief programs and assistance that we put in place last year are still active, and we're very focused on helping those that do still have a need. But overall, our members are doing okay. Good question, John.
Hey, thanks, Scott. Yeah, member financial health is so important to everything we do. It's just great to hear those examples of, some of the well-being that we're experiencing out there with our membership. So, Sean, do we have another question?
Yes, more coming in from the community relations inbox. So this one's saying, with fraud attempts like skimmer scams and others becoming so prevalent, what is BECU doing to protect members, and what can members do to protect their accounts?
Oh, that's a great question. Fumbi, could I turn that one over to you?
Yes, you sure can. And that is an excellent question, because that's an important thing that we all need to do. And, I think I talked about it earlier on, that not only, as 70% of us became remote last year, there's unfortunately all the bad guys increased their activity around cyber attacks. So it's important that we not only protect the members, but we also protect our company as well. So we all know that disruptive is when a card or an account is compromised. And I think regardless of how they access your information, whether it's through, whether you're using it online or on online shopping, or you're going into the store, or something what we call card skimming, or the other way, where they they basically replicate your card, we're here to help, right? I think any compromise we will definitely be able to help and support need where you need it. We also have a 24/7 monitoring with specialized tools to monitor for fraud and suspicious activities. Our team track industry fraud patterns along with other financial institutions and the law enforcement and cybersecurity agencies. So we work very closely with the law enforcement to shut down any crime rings that we either suspect or we know that is existing. To reduce the risk and exposure, we obviously, most of you will see on your card, we have a chip enabled focus card. And for the online banking, we have a multi-factor authentication and the option to authenticate by getting either a text code or in some cases having either a phone call or something on your mobile banking to help you do that. So, we're here to help. A lot of fraud is happening. A lot of people are getting scammed by fraudsters. In our newsletter, we also send out articles, and we usually give you the steps to take you to how to protect your account, or to warn you against various scams, or to encourage you to read your newsletter and take advantage of it. One thing I always remind people of is that we would never ask you for your social security number. We never ask for your PIN number. And that is, when you get that, that is fraud. So please, 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 either call the bank or basically, do not react to those requests, because those are typical ways in which fraud attempts do. But I can assure our members that we are doing everything possibly that we can to continue to make sure that our members are continue protected by putting all the tools and protection in place. But great question.
Hey, thanks, Fumbi. Those are some really good practical reminders for our members. And, there's so much going on out there. that is so critical that we're able to protect the security of our members. So we're really glad we have your expertise on board to help us do that. So Sean, what else do we have?
Okay, back to our members here. John from Bellevue writes, what is BECU's strategy to ensure you're offering members robust mobile and digital access to products and services?
Oh, wow. So important, isn't it? Thanks, John, for that question. I think I'm going to turn that one over to Doug Marshall. Doug, that's something that you're deeply interested in and you're working on.
Yeah. Thank you, John. Unfortunately, for our members, I could talk about that all night, but I won't. I think the shortest version of the answer would be, one, as you've heard all night, we start with our purpose, right? The purpose of BECU is to enable our members to improve their financial well-being. So much of what we do, digital or analog, is grounded in that. So, and you've heard a number of examples of that. That informs what we do. The second thing is we want to sort of pay what I call deep and close attention to what's going on out in the world. We know that our members don't just do their quote banking with BECU, but they live their lives. They have an Amazon delivery. They go watch Netflix. They order up a ride share. So they bring to their digital experiences with BECU all those expectations. So we want to pay deep and close attention to what's going on out there, so that we can make sure we're keeping up with those expectations. And again, I can give you several examples of how we responded to that. The third thing is we also know that, and you've heard me say this a couple times tonight, our members expect a lot from us, and they should. And so we've actually, for example, and worked very closely, of course, with Fumbi and her entire team on this, we've developed a set of principles around the user experience. Some of you are familiar with that term, to ensure that again, it's grounded in our values. For example, we actually are cognizant of DE&I as we develop that experience. And then B, it is as easy and intuitive and, dare I say, elegant as it can be to use. And then finally, the fourth part of the answer would be, although today is certainly, most of us think of digital as that thing on my phone, or the thing right now we're talking to you from on our desks, no doubt very soon it will be other facets. It would be what is called IoT. Most of you probably know about that, Internet of Things. So I'll be quote banking in my car, and if our members are, we want to be there. I might be banking quote unquote, from my dryer, from my refrigerator, for that matter. So we definitely want to make sure, not that we go do things that are way out there on the edge, but as our members' needs change and evolve, our strategy, and therefore what we offer, also evolves with that. So thank you for the question.
Thank you, Doug. Great answers. I may even be banking from my watch, right? One of these days. Come and see.
You mean you don't do that already?
Come on. Anyway, Sean, what else do we have? And by the way, keep the questions coming. These are awesome. So on the right side of the screen, keep putting them in the chat, and we're happy to answer. So what else do we have, Sean?
Okay, so this from Andrew in Redmond, one of our members. Now, Andrew is a lengthy one here for small businesses. So here we go. You've mentioned the enhancements coming to small business online banking several times. Can you elaborate on what will be offered? You mentioned ACH payments. Can you confirm whether it will be possible for small businesses to send a payment to a vendor via ACH or set up recurring payments?
That's a great question. I can see Scott and Doug both probably have some things to say about that. So who wants to start out on that question?
Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, with ACH in particular, I can confirm that. Yes, that'll enable our business members to do payroll through ACH, pay vendors through ACH, and then accept payments themselves from customers on a one-time or recurring basis. And so that's one of the capabilities that we're excited about offering. The online business banking platform will also have a lot more, I don't want to say customized, but I think capability for a business to tailor to their own needs in terms of authority levels, reporting and tracking at the company level, at individual employee levels, things like that. So overall, we're excited for that new platform to support the growth in this area. Doug, would you add anything to that?
Only thing I would add, everything you said, of course, is just maybe a little more texture around the ability to, as you said, personalize the experience. So, and again, that'll raise the bar for us on the personal side, but the ability for a business member to configure, if you will, that experience, not unlike what you can do on the mobile app. So again, we're excited to offer that up for our members and see what the response is.
Great. Thank you guys for those answers, and a great question once again. Let's bring Sean back on. What else do we have?
A lot of good ones here from the members, and thank you to our members here this evening. The opening presentation mentioned new savings tools. What are those, and where do I find them?
Okay, well, we do have a lot of those. Who would like to comment on some of the new savings tools that we have?
Yeah. Why don't I start, and then certainly others can chime in. Yeah, the new tools from last year that are now available. We call one Quick Save, and again, that's available in the app on a pilot basis. It'll be rolled out more broadly later this year. And that essentially, that's sort of self-directed savings. You actually have to take action. We're trying to meet different needs. The second one is what we call Save Up, and that's the most autopilot savings option we have. Basically, once you're enrolled, every time you use your debit card, you will also, depending what you set, you can set the number. You'll also be adding to your savings account. So it's the most in the background, easy to do way to save. And then the third one I mentioned earlier, just in this session, is this notion of digital savings envelopes. And I think I alluded to that, so I won't go into detail. The point, and then actually one we've had for years, which is one of my personal favorites, is just that simple ability to set up multiple savings accounts and name them. I happen to have an account named Doug's Bike because I want to save up for a bike. A number of examples our members have used. So those 4 products each meet a slightly different savings need, but they're intended as a full suite, we think, to meet the needs of our members across all their savings expectations and needs. But I would also ask my colleagues, anything else I may have missed there on those particular offerings?
I think you got most of them. Scott?
Yeah, no, Doug, you covered it. But if you want to create a Scott lunch account and swipe get together and tuck Willow, yeah.
Thanks.
Savings is so important to member financial health, and I will say they work because I think Doug has that account for his bike, and I think he just got a new bike as well. So I think it actually works. So
that helps.
Right. Yeah. So Sean, what else do we have?
Okay. # Doug's bike, right? Okay. So from the community relations inbox, what market or geographical expansion plans does BECU have for 2021?
Okay, that's a good question, and Scott would love to direct that one your way if I could.
Yeah, I will add some thoughts and then invite others to do the same. But for 2021, from a market expansion standpoint, what I would say is that we entered Bellingham late last year, and so that's still fairly new to us, and we've brought all of our products and services up there. Obviously a new branch, as well as mortgage, investment services, and business lending. And so in 21, from a market expansion, we're going to continue to focus on building that market. On new branches in 2021, we don't anticipate adding new branches into this year. There's really a lot of uncertainty still in terms of what's happening out there. Hopefully, we will not go back to phase 2. But I would tell you that our traffic in our branches is about 85% of the levels that we saw pre-pandemic. And so there's a lot of uncertainty this year still in that. And so we're not going to add new branches in 21, but we will always continue to look at certain markets and locations to kind of strike when the opportunity is right as well. And so otherwise, we'll focus on Bellingham as a market, and with that entry we did last year. But we also, even though we won't do it physically with new branches in 2021, we're statewide in a lot of ways we participate. We do mortgages in Vancouver, for example. We do auto loans to our members down in Oregon. We do business loans down there, and so we'll continue to expand in our local markets, even if we don't have a physical presence. Meanwhile, in 21, no new branches, and we'll reassess that in 2022. Final comment is that we have certainly seen our digital channels, our online and mobile, really handle a lot of the service and the transactions. Our members have changed, of course, if they're going into branches less, changed their behavior, and we're going to continue to invest in opportunities for our members, to do more and more through our digital channels. So they don't have to go into a physical location as well. So I would add that we're focused on doing that. And you heard some of that from Fumbi and Doug as well. So any other thoughts, Doug or Fumbi?
No, I think the increase of digital is important. I mean, obviously, we always have to recognize that there's always that special touch of being at the NFCs and meeting our members in person. But I think pandemic has shown that we can just as well service our members from a digital front, and which is why we're spending a lot of time focused around making it easier, the friction points that we have, making it easier for our members so they can do their transactions seamlessly. So a lot of focus around digitalization is important, which is really exciting because it said it's changing the behavior on how we transact. And so I think that remains a good focus. Of course, as Scott said, we will take advantage as we enter, if there are other opportunities to enter new markets. But I think it's safe to say that our focus around digital is going to be an imperative. Over to Scott. Doug, what do you think?
Agree with you both. And this reminds me of a discussion the three of us had. I would only add this, that we also are looking for ways, working closely with Scott's team, to make the financial center analog experience more digital, where it can make the experience better. So it's not digital analog, it is. It's also then how do we make that experience better in close partnership there as well. So, yeah.
Wow, it's a great point, Doug. And, the bottom line, I think, is we want to be able to be wherever the members need us to be, through whichever kind of channel. So that's why it's so important for everybody to give us feedback. All right, Sean, I think we have time for one last question. Do we have something there?
Yes, and you gave a great segue to it right there, John, just talking about serving all members here and that important feedback from our members. This one from the community relations inbox leading up to the event. Are you doing everything you can to meet the needs of differently abled clients? The only options for contacting someone are a phone number or to come in person. Those that are hearing impaired would be required to come in person.
Very important question. So Doug, Scott, I think either of you could probably go for that.
I'll lead off and others chime in, please. I think the best answer to that specific limitation is actually today in both the online banking and our mobile app, there are ways to messenger. It's called messenger, basically a text-like ability. So someone who is deaf or hearing impaired can use that to get in touch with a member consultant in Scott's contact center is one area. And we've enhanced that quite a bit over the last year or so. So that's one particular solution there. I would then quickly add that we are deeply committed to, one of our principles for our user experience is access for all. And so about 2 years ago, we realized that we were not providing as good an experience at all for our blind and sight impaired members. So we undertook a big effort to ensure that our digital offerings are accessible and usable and viable for that particular community, and have made tremendous progress there in partnership actually with some of our blind and sight impaired members. So specific to the deaf and hearing limited community, we've made good progress there with the messenger. I'd also just wanted to make that point around the blind and sight impaired. And if the person behind the question needs specifics, feel free to email me or the community affairs email box so we can get you specifics.
Great. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate that. And gosh, the time just flies. It's time to wrap up the session. So Doug just said it, but if you want to have further dialogue with any of us that are here during this segment or any of the prior ones, please feel free to email communityrelations@becu.org. And I believe, Sean, you could probably add that to the chat for us too, so that people can easily find that. Thank you to everybody for attending. You are why we're here. So we really appreciate you being here with us. Scott, Doug, Fumbi, Sean, amazing work. Thank you for all you did this evening. Before we close, I want to remind everybody there's a survey below at the bottom of your screen, and we'd love to get your feedback on this event so that we continue to serve you and make it even better, as we go forward. So this really concludes our breakout sessions for the evening. And we are getting ready to start our kind of closing keynote panel, which starts in a couple of minutes. And so we're looking forward to seeing you there. Thanks, everybody.
See you all.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care, everybody.
This is the one place where you can grow, where you can be yourself, you can be real. You don't have to be a cookie cutter employee, and it advances you. It advances you emotionally, physically, and it's just an awesome place to be.
There are so many things I enjoy about working at BECU. I think the overall theme is really people helping people. And what that means to me, it allows me to, be myself, come to work every day, be very real with people, especially now more than ever in their time of need. I really want, it allows me to be human.
I love what I do. I love the company I work for. I love helping members. I love just helping people.
Yeah, I do feel satisfied knowing that my actions throughout the day help the members with any of their financial needs.
I just love making them feel help, in everything what they need. I just love seeing those smile that, oh, thank you for helping me. That makes me feel so accomplished.
Helping members, it's a joy. I mean, it's making a difference in somebody's life, in their financial life, that brings a lot of pleasure to me, and also helping my colleagues,
I really like the attitude of everyone here, just the general positive feeling that I get from working with all the different people at BECU.
What made me proud to work at BECU is the care that I receive, as much as the care that I give out.
Especially now in this environment, members need us now more than ever. And watching my large staff interact with members on a variety of needs on a day-to-day basis really brings me joy, knowing that we're helping them in their times of need.
It's that connection with the community, both that respect that I think BECU carries within this region and the longevity of it. Just to think about how many people in our community have been able to buy homes and save up for retirement and drive cool cars and meet financial goals because of our commitment to the community.
But in particular is being able to partake in someone's journey. And my quote has always been, to be but a grain of sand in someone's journey, I have done my part. People helping people is what we stand for.